creative as a whole is still there, and it's still doing very well. It's still popular. People, especially when you're doing something video game related.
Yep.
People want to see that.
Just run away with the time.
Welcome to Stream Key Podcast. I'm your host, Green, and today we have a very special guest, PureKaos26. PureKaos, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, she's actually local to our area, so she's able to come in and do a live one with us. As you can see, we have a very festive tree with us today and no fancy city background to try and keep it all Christmassy with the green and red and everything. So, but anyway, guys, thank you for tuning into the show. I want to let everyone know that we'll have a live Q&A session at the end of the show after our discussion. And if you ask a question during that segment, you will get a code for our PC giveaway, first of all. And second, you'll actually get mentioned in all the show notes and description, all that kind of stuff after the podcast gets exported next week. So a lot of perks for asking questions. If you think of something good, write it down either for me or Kaos about what we're talking about or just about streaming in general, anything. Let us know and you'll get a code and all sorts of goodies. So
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, our PC giveaway is pretty exciting. So definitely check that out if you guys haven't already. But we're going to get into the show a little bit. So first of all, I just want to let everyone know who Kaos is. She's one of our sponsored streamers at TRUgaming, and she's a new one. So when did you get sponsored? I guess
This last round. Yeah, September.
Yeah, okay. So about 3 months now that you've been sponsored. Yep. Part of the community, yeah. And she is a creative streamer, which is the reason we have her on the show today. Don't have a ton of creative streamers that we sponsor, but there are a few, and we were actually talking about this before we got into the show. She's probably the sponsored streamer that does the most creative streaming, if that makes sense. We have a few others that do it, but not quite as often as her. So I thought she'd be a great person to come in and talk about creative streaming today, especially since he's local too. Yeah. So thanks for that. Cool. Well, first of all, can you just kind of tell us briefly about who you are and how you got started on Twitch, what you do on there, that kind of stuff?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, like you said, I'm Kaos. I have been watching Twitch off and on for probably 2 or 3 years. Okay. Never really. I don't play video games, so the fact that I watch people play video games is a little weird to a lot of people. I love watching.
Don't play them at all.
Not really. I'm bad at them. I don't like dying. So
nobody does.
If you have a game where you die and then you lose all your stuff, I get very angry. So it's easier for me just to kind of avoid the video games. And I grew up crafting. My mom was an art teacher for a while, so that's kind of been in my blood. And then I found out that there was a creative side to Twitch, so I was like, "Ooh, let's try that. Let's see what we can do with it." So
awesome. And so you've been streaming creatively for about a year now?
Yeah, so? August 2016, I started the creative streaming.
Nice, awesome. So it's a lot of experience. I don't actually know when the creative directory started. I don't know if you know that, but I don't think it's been around for too long, so you've probably been there for most of it, I would think. I'm not sure.
That's kind of cool.
That's just a guess. I don't really know. Cool. So how about your username, PureKaos26?
That's kind of an embarrassing story.
Oh, gosh. That's great, though.
In high school, well, okay, I still am, but in high school, I was like crazy obsessed with the Backstreet Boys.
Of course.
And my favorite Backstreet Boys nickname was Kaos, spelled with a K. And for my 16th birthday, when I ended up getting a car, my best friend had one of those front vanity plates. Like that was all the rage in the 90s. Yeah. She had it say Pure Kaos on it. And until my parents would let me put it on the car, it hung up in my room. And so from that point on, like my AOL screen names, my email addresses, everything was Pure Kaos. And then the 26th is for my birthday, January 26th.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, because you had to have numbers back in the 90s.
Yeah, always.
Had to have numbers.
Couldn't get the original either anyway, so that's funny. So you just kind of kept like the middle school, high school gamer or email name and then just never got rid of it. Yeah. I have those too.
It worked. I mean, my life is chaos. I am the embodiment of chaos, so it works.
For a while, your husband was Kaos too. Just that's a whole other story.
We're not going to talk about that one.
Yeah, if he's watching, he knows about that. Awesome. So again, we kind of touched on this, but you're a TRUgaming sponsored streamer. How did you first find out about TRUgaming, and how long have you been part of the community? And do you know anyone in it? That's like 3 questions, but
okay. You guys actually found me.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, I started following you guys after, I think you followed me on Twitter and Twitch, and I was like, okay. And then my
Interesting.
husband had told me, he was like, yeah, I'm hanging out with these people. They're local, blah, blah, blah. He never told me the
Okay.
name. And
Yeah.
then I kind of put two and two together when I was like, wait a minute. That seems like something he might have said in passing.
Yeah.
And then my friends Pims and Driz are in
Right.
TRUgaming.
Both sponsored streamers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'd kind of been telling me about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, these sound like cool people. Let's see what
See
what
what
it's about.
happens.
So I joined the Discord, and
Nice.
you guys are pretty cool. And then Pims was like, you should probably try to get sponsorship. Just
Yeah.
give it a shot. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'll never get it in a million years because I'm creative. Nobody sponsors creative streamers. Well, here we are.
Yeah. Not quite. That's awesome, though. I didn't realize. A lot of times, like, people will tell me that, like, oh, you found me. And I'm like, I did?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many people, I can't remember that. But that makes sense, though, because I know Mr. Kaos.
Yeah.
You're definitely playing a lot of stuff with him. And
Yeah.
then I probably saw your name through all his stuff and wondered
yeah.
if there's a Mr. Kaos, who's the Mrs. Kaos. So that's interesting. Awesome. Cool. Well, I want to later I'll ask you more about Pims because I was kind of curious, and Driz actually. But let's get into the discussion of the theme of today's discussion, guys, which is creative streaming, like we talked about. Kind of a general just discussion of the directory as a whole. What makes it stand out from every other directory on Twitch? There's games for every single game on Twitch, and then there's a whole directory for creative streaming. So I'm kind of curious about just learning about how it's different from other games and other directories like music, things like that. So we'll get into it. The first question I have for you, which you kind of touched on already, is how'd you get started in it, and did you stream from day one?
I started streaming April of 2016, and I was playing video games. And then it wasn't doing well. Like, my husband was watching me. Driz would occasionally hop in there. Pims would come in there, and then some of the mutual friends that we had. But for the most part, nobody really liked watching me play video games, which is fine because I suck at it. I'm okay with that. But then I realized that people were making perler art. And I was like, okay, I've been doing that for years. I've got a few things that I want to try to make. I want to get better at it. I also crochet and do a bunch of other crafts. I was like,
cool.
We'll try that on stream too
Yeah.
to see where it goes. And it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know you do crochet stuff too. Do you do that on stream?
Not as often.
Okay.
Because it's harder for me to count the stitches that I'm doing and still try to stay interactive with chat.
That makes sense.
So
Wow,
yeah, I
didn't
don't
know
do
you
that quite as much.
Yeah, I could see that be tricky with interacting. I think like the perler art's really good for game streaming too, because I noticed you do a lot of like 8-bit kind of stuff.
Yes.
where
It's fabulous.
Yeah, it's like
perfect.
built for it.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And I think that's I haven't seen a lot of perler streamers on Twitch.
Not
so-
anymore. No, when I started, there were a ton of us.
Oh, really?
And now there's maybe 2 or 3 of us at any given time streaming.
Yeah, it's really cool to watch. I think you guys should definitely check it out if you want to see something different on Twitch with the creative stuff. Cool. So this one I'm really curious about. Do you have any experience in networking with other creative streamers and anything unique about the directory community in general? This is something I've heard a little bit about. I don't know if you have experience with it or not.
Kind of. One of my really good friends, Chef Lethal Plays, he's a cooking streamer. Well, he started off as a cooking streamer. He kind of just does whatever he can fit into a schedule now.
Okay.
But he and I kind of hit it off immediately, and we were kind of networking back and forth, trying to spread each other's names out there. And
Nice.
so, I mean, it's kind of on a small scale, but
Yeah.
it works. But then I actually got to meet Caleb Hart 42, who's a speedrunner, and he does perler art occasionally too.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
So he was kind of giving me some tips, and I have actually given him a couple tips, but he doesn't use them because he's really good at what he does and doesn't need it.
Well,
but,
I'm sure
I
you
mean,
still get some use out of it.
He's helped spread my name around too. Like, I've donated
Nice.
some perlers for his giveaways. He has a weekly giveaway that he does for with his perlers, and a lot of people donate. So I started donating some stuff, and he was really impressed with. At least he said he was impressed with my work.
Yeah,
so.
I can. I mean, I definitely am. We have something to show you guys at the end of the stream that she made for us. I'm not going to show it yet because we're still in the discussion, but it's awesome. You'll see her talent in a second here. Well, cool, because I've just heard from a few other creative streamers that because it's like a smaller directory, you can kind of learn other people that do what you do in the directory. I don't know if you have.
I haven't really
experienced that,
I haven't had the chance to experience that because when I started, everybody was parloring, it seemed like,
Right,
or
yeah.
everybody was in creative. And now that I'm into it and more people know who I am, there's less people to network with. People
Right.
have either, like, there were several big names in parlor streaming that I was familiar with and that I watched. They pretty much focus on gaming now. So it's, they've kind of shied away from it, and I'm still plugging along.
Do you think that's happening to creative as a whole, or just with Perla Arts?
I think it's happening with creative as a whole.
Really?
I honestly think IRL has hurt.
Yeah, I
creative.
can see that for sure.
I know a lot of people have been moving over to IRL because that's where all the viewers are. It's new, it's different. That's how creative was when creative started.
Yep.
It was new and different. Everybody was in creative, and now they're all the pushes for IRL, and there's a handful of us that still stream in creative, just various categories, whatever it is. It's a little harder to find.
Yeah, have you experimented with IRL at all yet, or have you thought about it?
I did once. I had a lot of homework that I had to do one night, and everybody was like, "No, you need to stream. You need to stream." I'm like, "I'm going to stream my math homework." So I went into IRL, and that was actually one of my better streams in the last couple of months. Was people just coming in like, "Why are you doing math homework?"
Interesting.
You wanted to stream. Here you go.
Yeah, that's funny. Have you do you see people doing what they did in creative exactly, but just changing it to IRL?
Yes.
Yeah.
That honestly drives me crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's what's killing the category. It's what's pushing everybody to think IRL is the way to go when, I mean, it is in some situations, but I kind of like to follow the rules occasionally, despite the name Kaos. And if you're doing something that's creative, if you're making something, you should be in creative, in my opinion anyway. That's how people who don't know Twitch, that's how they're going to find you. They're going to see, oh, creative. Well, I want to see if somebody's cross-stitching or if somebody's purloring. I'm going to look there first. I'm not going to think to look in IRL.
Interesting. Do you think that so you're saying that people actually find you more easily if you stream creative?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Because you're going specifically looking for someone who's doing something creative.
Right.
In my opinion, art isn't necessarily something that you would find in IRL.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is IRL is such a vague category.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is IRL technically. I mean, you can make anything IRL really.
Yeah.
So I wonder if people are trying to do it just to get higher up in the listings.
I've seen people and I've heard people that have done that. And they've suggested that I do that too. But
Have you thought about it? Or?
I've thought about it, but I just can't make myself do it.
Yeah.
I would rather be where I know what I'm doing. I know I'm in creative. I may be in there by myself being the only Perler streamer, but hey, if somebody's looking for Perler streamers, I'm there.
You're probably the top one if everyone else is in IRL.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you find something that works, definitely stick with it. I support that. So, also, I know it was a big tangent, but I was really curious about that. So, jumping into our next question, what are some of the mistakes that you see new or just in general creative streamers making when they start streaming in creative? Have you seen any of that?
Not really.
No?
Other than giving up really quickly.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of touched on that.
Yeah, the views are not always there. They're not. We're not playing video games. We're not. I mean, Twitch even has a thing where if I'm making something that's Chrono Trigger related, I can put myself as playing Chrono Trigger and show up in the Chrono category.
Yeah, you could.
Instead of being in creative.
Have you ever done that?
I did once.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was how'd you feel about it?
It didn't make a difference at the time. It made no difference to my stream at the time. So I was like, well, why bother?
Yeah.
Then I have to remember if I'm in the middle of a stream and I go to something Mario, I have to remember to change it over to Mario. I can't remember that.
Yeah, that's true.
Just stick with creative and you're good. You're covered.
I feel like there are a lot of creative streamers who kind of stream not as the main thing they do, but they're doing something anyway, and they might as well stream it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of like games too. But I get the sense that there are a lot of people who do creative streaming, kind of not just for streaming itself, but because they can, and it's like an extra thing they can do on the side.
Yeah.
So like they're not as focused on growing it
Yeah.
as maybe like a game streamer who's trying to make it full time or something.
Yeah.
So do you agree with that?
I
or?
do, yeah. I actually had some really good advice from a friend when I got started was if you're going to do something and you're going to be doing it for more than an hour, whether it's playing a game, crocheting, purloring, painting, whatever, you may as well stream it.
Yeah.
If you're going to stream something anyhow, you may as well stream what you're doing if you're going to be doing it for more than an hour anyhow.
Yeah.
There's
I agree
no
with
point
that.
in not doing that.
For sure. I think as long as you have your expectations at like a reasonable level,
Mm-hmm.
like if you're just working on something and throw on a stream, you're not going to get huge, but like you said, you may as well stream it because it
Yeah.
never hurts.
I mean, you
So,
don't know who's going to be out there. You don't know who's going to be watching.
true.
You may get a commission from that. You may make a really great friend from that. Like the possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. No, I agree. I think a lot of people have that perspective though with like game streaming where like, well, I'm playing games for 4 hours, I may as well stream.
Yeah.
And then they're surprised when they don't grow. Like it's kind of the same thing. I think it's a good idea. Like again, if you're playing games for 4 hours, sure, go ahead and stream. But if you want to kind of develop that into more of like a full-time or entertaining thing, then that's a decision. Like,
Yeah.
you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'm just curious about how creative streamers in particular seem to care less about that and more about just kind of doing what they're doing.
Most of us, yeah. I'm kind of on the fence with it.
Yeah, I've noticed with you it's a little different because
This is my job.
exactly, yeah.
This is, I mean, outside of school, this is what I do. I stream. I
Right.
purler. This is how I make my money.
Right.
So,
But you clearly put effort into your stream to really make it enjoyable to watch, right? So like you have different camera angles and
yeah.
overlays and things like that. Whereas I see a lot of creative streamers who have like literally just a camera and they just throw it on when they're working on something. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, it's a good way to get started.
Yeah.
I think I used my laptop webcam for the first 3 or 4 months, and then I was like, no, I need a second camera
Yeah.
to show people what I'm doing. So I'm not like, oh, here's what I've got, or
Yeah.
or just having it down and not. People say that my facial expressions are part of the fun of being there because when I
Yeah.
mess up, even if I don't say I've messed up, you can tell I did something stupid
I
just
can
by
see
how
that.
I look. So they're like, you have to have one on you have to have one on what you're doing so that we
Yeah.
can see where you messed up.
And just talking to chat and stuff too. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's benefit for that.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I think that's just really interesting to me how that all works. Okay, so you kind of touched on this, but I guess since you started streaming creative, have you experimented with other types of streaming? So have you done gaming at all since you started creative? Okay.
I play Minecraft and I play World of Warcraft.
Right.
That's pretty much it. Those are the only two that I'm even remotely decent at, and I still really, really suck. So I will, because of the sponsored streamer thing, you guys have given me a server to use, and
Right, Minecraft.
my chat has decided that they like Minecraft. So we've made it a subscriber thing. It's a perk for my subscribers. If
Right,
you
yeah.
sub, I'll give you the information. You can join us. And so occasionally I'll stream where I'm playing with them. We'll all be in voice together and that. But I've tried to fail at Mario a few times. I played Pokemon Red. I was trying to learn that speed run for a hot minute, and
Oh,
I
nice.
got frustrated with it. So 6.5 hours later, that is my best time on that game.
Jeez. I mean, I never even beat it as a kid, so you beat me.
I hadn't even played it until December last year. It was my first
really?
experience with Pokemon ever.
At
And-
any game at all.
Yeah, and I was last November I started playing Chrono Trigger, and it made me so angry. So Drizzy was like, "We'll try Pokemon. You'll like Pokemon Red. Play this."
Yeah.
So I
Still
started
made you
playing
angry?
it. I don't like going slow in video games. I don't like reading the story. I just want to get through the game as quickly
Right.
as possible. So that's kind of where my transition into speedrunning came. So
Interesting. I feel like I don't know a lot of people who don't play video games, but when they do, it's speedrunning. That seems like a very small amount of people who.
Yeah.
It's like either you do nothing at all or you go as hard as you possibly can.
pretty
So
much.
that's pretty cool. Well, have you noticed different like changes in viewers depending on what you're streaming versus
Yes.
with creative versus gaming, that kind of
Yes.
stuff?
For a while, when I would try to play any game, didn't matter what it was, my viewership was like half because I had
Wow.
kind of made a name for myself as a creative streamer. There were a handful of people that wanted to see me play games, but it didn't draw in people. It wasn't as exciting for them. That's not what they expected from me.
Right.
And then now that I've kind of networked more into the video game community, my viewership almost doubles when I play video games versus when I'm parloring, which is really,
Interesting.
really weird, but it's still,
Yeah.
it just depends on the day sometimes for me.
Huh. So you actually get more when you play games now than when you do creative.
Occasionally, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, the average is a lot. Like, I went on this, I'm never playing video games on my stream thing again. And then everybody was like, no, you have to do that. It's fun to watch you fail. This is what you should do.
Yeah.
So I kind of try to throw it in occasionally.
Do you have viewers that, I guess, only come out when you play games? Interesting.
Yep.
How about the opposite? The other people that won't watch the games?
Yeah, I have a couple of people that'll only come by when I'm doing anything creative. It doesn't matter what it is. As long as it's creative, they'll come by.
Interesting. So, like, those viewers who only come out for creative, what do they kind of act like? Like, I know you probably think of names when I say this, but, like, are they there to kind of learn from you? Are they there to...
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a mix of reasons for being there?
Yeah, I have a few that come by specifically to pick up pointers. Is if somebody asks me a question, I go into full-on tutorial mode.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get a tutorial video done so that I can link people to it.
Yeah.
But like, I have guides on how to get started. I'll walk somebody through it. People like to see, you just put plastic on plastic and then iron it together, but they like to see the technique of how I fuse it together and how I get it to look as decent as it does. So
That's cool. Yeah, it's just interesting thinking about, like, different types of viewers in the directories. Because, I mean, it's the same thing like games. Like, there's people that want to, like, learn stuff in games, but I think in general that's not the case in games as much. It's more people just wanting to watch and be entertained. Whereas I've seen in creative, there's people that are out there who go out to streams to learn about how to do something. So,
I've had people come in and ask me where I get my beads from, like how I got started. They want to do it too, so they go to somebody who's got a decent amount of viewers and followers, and they want tips and tricks and pointers, and I'll give them what I can, but I won't give them all of my secrets.
Of course, you can't do that. That's cool though. I think like a tutorial like that would be a really great idea too, to keep building on like the idea of you as someone who can teach people, I guess. So cool. All right, moving on here. Are there any unique ways that you feel creative streamers can engage with viewers that game streamers can't do as easily? So, like, kind of unique advantages of the directory.
It's easier to talk to people. It's easier to keep up with chat. Even if your chat is just going crazy, it's easier to keep up with it because you can stop what you're doing
At any time.
and you can look up and you can read chat and you can interact, and you're not worrying about, okay, am I walking off a cliff? Am I going to get shot in the head? You don't have to worry about any of that.
That's true. And not multiplayer online stuff. It's really interesting. Do you try and like talk to chat while doing stuff at the same
I
time?
try.
Yeah.
I try. It's not always.
Yeah. I can imagine.
I have the attention span of a gnat and the memory of a goldfish. So between the two, I'll be mid-sentence and forget what I'm doing if I'm trying to count something at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
It's fun, but it's not as easy as
I can
I
imagine.
would have thought it would be.
Like I do guitar streaming sometimes, and when I'm playing guitar, I can't say a thing to chat. I'm just so, I don't know, I can't multitask that way. So but I guess like maybe if you do it a lot, you get used to it.
That has definitely helped, but yeah.
I'm sure like I think it's kind of like game streaming too. You can also get better at that, but that's interesting. So anything else that like anything that you see that's different creative streaming than game streaming from like a chat perspective, things you can do with the chat, like I don't know, maybe you can make them something or... Yeah,
I can do giveaways. If I'm making something and I decided, okay, I don't actually want this or nobody's commissioned it from me, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, let's do a giveaway today. Whoever wins gets whatever I've just made or gets a coupon for something down the road. Or
so it's like you didn't even set out to make a giveaway, just kind of, well, I have this thing to give away now. So that's cool. That's different than... game streaming, I guess. And do you kind of like customize stuff for your viewers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I started making something one time on stream and somebody came in and was watching it and said they wanted it. But they would buy it from me immediately if I changed X, Y, and Z colors. So I changed those colors, the money came in and I mailed it off to them.
Dang, well, that's nice. So you just kind of get commissions on stream too. Just like you kind of mentioned, just the fact of having your stream on is a good way to promote your business too.
For me right now, that's the only way I know. Short of Instagram
Really?
and Twitter, it's just I'm making it. You're watching me make it. You want something similar.
Yeah.
This is the best way to find me.
That's really cool. Do you ever make stuff with viewers? Like, for example, if they commission something from you and they kind of give you like feedback on it as you make it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just did a commission for a really good friend not too long ago, and I was working on it on stream specifically so he could watch me, because the pattern was a little weird. I had to make my own, and I was working off of 2 images, and I didn't know which one he was going to like better. So it was a Mega Man thing, and his Mega Man's face was really odd. It was because it was his profile, and it didn't quite fit the way I thought it should.
Right.
So I was asking him, okay, do you want it this way? Do you want it this way? And it just worked better than trying to send a picture
Yeah.
and then wait for a response. Like, he was in there with me live and could tell me,
That's really cool.
this is what I want changed, or just leave it. And I think it works better that way.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a really cool advantage of the platform, just as Twitch in general, that you can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot of potential for the future. Just even like if you were to design overlays or something, or whatever, like just being able to do it in real time with people and get feedback instantly, that'd be really cool, I think. So sweet. Okay, what is you kind of touched on this a little bit. What's your opinion on the future of creative streaming as a whole? Is it growing, shrinking, and is Twitch built for it?
I think Twitch can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, right when Amazon took over, there was that real big push for creative, and
That's true.
everything was going really well. That's honestly how I got to where I am now. I don't think if Amazon had just kind of let it go, if it was just Twitch the way it was before, I don't think a lot of us would be where we are creative wise.
What did Amazon do? Is there anything specifically they did to promote it?
They had started a handmade section on their own website, so they were kind of going the route of like Etsy,
yeah.
and they realized that there's money in creative stuff. There's money in art. I mean, they're a business. That's kind of what their focus is. So let's help our creative streamers along. Let's do more promotion of the creative side of things, and it did help a lot, and that was a big focus for a while. So it's not so much now.
Right, yeah. Is there some sort of connection like with do you have like a store or something with Amazon or Twitch that
I don't
No.
right now.
because that seems like a cool possibility for
That would be
integration.
awesome to be able to switch that over. I have Etsy, but it's not connected to anything. So
Right,
it's
yeah.
not, people actually have to leave Twitch to find it. But if there were a way to just click on my
Amazon.
name or something and it go to an Amazon store, or if Twitch had the ability to have
Yeah,
like
or even,
store
like,
platforms.
Right, like an extension or something under the stream with a shop there.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
That would be
Especially
awesome.
With Amazon already set up with Twitch and everything.
Yep.
That could be a cool idea if they do it. So they've had some really cool ideas recently, though.
Yeah, they're
So,
doing really well.
Yeah. So about the directory as a whole, do you think it's growing, shrinking, moving? You kind of touched on IRL a little bit already.
Yeah, the creative streamers I think are still there. I
Yeah.
think there's still a lot of us out there, but the directory itself is not thriving the way it could and how it used to.
Right.
I think everybody has moved over, like we said, to IRL, but creative as a whole is still there, and it's still doing very well. It's still popular. People, especially when you're doing something video game related,
Yep.
people want to see that. They want to
noticed
see, especially cosplay, they want to see their favorite characters come to life in your costumes. They want to see art made with their favorite characters. So
Yeah, which is what you do. I think I think if that's the thing about creative that I've noticed is that it's very tailored to gamers who are interested in art. That makes sense. Even
Yep.
like music, I've noticed that people who make music tend to be like electronic artists or even making like video game remixes and things. So I think from what I've seen that if you are someone who focuses on gaming with your art, then that's a good platform for
Oh,
you.
definitely.
Yeah.
Most of it, especially on Twitch. I mean, Twitch is known for being a video game thing.
Right.
Like if you did YouTube, people are more familiar with YouTube and know that it's kind of wide open.
Yeah.
But you say, hey, I stream on Twitch, and unless you're in the video game world, people look at you like you have 3 heads.
Yeah.
You have a
Exactly.
Twitch? What? No. No.
There are some streamers out there who really don't even touch gaming that much, but they're rare, and I don't think they do that well. So they're
Yeah.
kind of in the IRL directory or
Yeah.
things like that. So Have you experimented with other platforms at all, like YouTube or Mixer or anything like that?
I tried uploading all my stuff over to YouTube when I first started, and it probably had a lot to do with the fact that I had like 30 followers to begin with, and they were all people that I actually knew, so they weren't going to watch that anyhow.
Right.
But I don't feel like YouTube's for me. I can't handle editing videos. I don't like any of that stuff. So
It's a lot of work.
the stream stuff is enough for me to try to remember to change my title and to promote it, and that.
Yep. I forgot to do that today, so I know what you mean. That's interesting. I'm just curious to see what people have kind of jumped around with. Okay, we're getting towards the end of the discussion here. What kinds of streams do you see having the most success in the creative directory? I think we touched a little bit on this too. Basically, like, do you see different types of streaming in creative doing better, whether maybe it's like digital art versus music versus crafting like what you do? Do you notice like a trend with that kind of stuff?
Right now, I see a lot of digital artists thriving with the affiliate program. Everybody and their brother needs an emote now, at
That's
least
true.
one.
Many.
Usually 3.
Yeah.
So those people who can create that work are constantly busy. And if they stream their stuff, it's going to be even more profitable for them in the long run. They're going to get more exposure. People are going to see, oh, wow, you created that emote. I love using that one. I finally got affiliate status. I want to go to you to get my stuff done.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think I've noticed that with Dust to Design. He's been doing a lot of emote stuff work, and from what I've heard, he's totally scheduled out for that, or I guess busy as can be. So interesting. Have you made anything for affiliates yourself? Like, I don't know if there's any connection with like crafting or anything.
Kind of,
or...
yeah. It's actually really fun to perler emotes.
Really?
I started perlering Caleb Hart's emotes for giveaways. I needed something that was unique and different that nobody else had done.
Yeah.
So I would take his emotes and turn them into patterns and make them just little ones and use those for giveaways. And I realized how fun that was and how cool it was, because nobody else has that. You have your favorite emote from one of your favorite streamers in your office now.
That's pretty cool.
Nobody else has that. So I've found that I've even perlered some of my emotes for giveaways. One of my really good friends has a giant version of one of his emotes now, and
that's cool.
Like it's fun. It's different. It's custom. It's something you're not gonna see everywhere. So it's fun to turn things that other artists have created into something
new, like
different, completely different genre. I turned digital art into 3D art.
Yeah, that's really cool, actually. Interesting. So I think I could see ways that creative as a whole, like no matter what you're doing, could kind of do something cool for affiliates. Like if you're music, maybe you make sound effects for alerts and things like that.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
That's a really cool idea that I hadn't thought of. But like, there's so many affiliates now that all want to make their channels better, and creative's kind of the best way to do that.
Yep.
So cool. I'll have to think about that some more. Okay, so this is wrapping it up here. If you could give one piece of advice to a brand new creative streamer on Twitch, what would you tell them?
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't let the no views, no followers thing let you go, because I've gotten to that point where I'll stream and there'll be like 3 people in there, and they're the 3 people that are always in there. They're my best friends, and nobody will be chatting because they'll be doing something else, which is fine. Everybody has a life. Lurkers are great. But it gets discouraging when it keeps happening. You have to just keep plugging along. Don't let that stop you, because you'll have days where you'll have 100 followers, or you'll get that epic host from somebody, and the commissions will pour in, or the followers and friends will pour in, and it's going to happen eventually. You just have to wait it out.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think just for gaming in general, or just Twitch as a whole, that's good advice. No matter what you're streaming, you're going to run into that. So yeah. Awesome. Cool. So is there anything else you'd like to discuss, whether it's creative streaming or just Twitch, anything that we didn't touch on? No?
I think we're
I just
good.
always like to ask that just in case.
No.
Cool. Well, that is most of the discussion for today, guys. So now we will open it up to chat questions. If you have a question for us, let us know. I'm going to pull up a tablet here so we can actually see the Twitch chat questions. And while we're doing that, I do want to show you guys this beautiful thing that Kaos made for us here. Oh, if I can reach it. Look at this, guys. This is a giant True logo that is perler art. That is like huge too. It's bigger than my head, like 4 times the size of my head. So that's her actual work. You can see her make stuff like this on her channel, which is right under her name over there. And it'll get linked in all the show notes and everything. Cool. Let's see what we got here. How long did it take is what an atlas says.
That one was about 6 hours, and that was
6 hours.
that was a lot less time than I was expecting for something.
Really?
That's the biggest project I've made to date.
Yeah, it's huge.
18 boards, which is each board is about 5.5
Oh my gosh.
inches.
I saw like the picture you tweeted out where you had all the little boards and they were like falling off the desk.
I didn't know how to get it on my desk. I had to actually take it apart and try to do it piece by piece, and trying to tape
my
it together
gosh.
and iron it was a mess and a half, but
I can imagine.
turned out great.
Yeah, it's like pixel perfect.
I'm
right now.
crazy proud of it.
That's awesome. All right. So let's get the questions going. I see one from Tim Tima. He said, what is your favorite piece that you've made?
I did a portrait series, the menu portraits from Chrono Trigger, and they were 7 individual pieces, and they were the portraits from the menu in Chrono Trigger.
Wow.
They were gorgeous. They were so much fun to make. They were challenging. They turned out beautiful. That's probably my absolute favorite thing to have done. I hope somebody wants them again, because I want to make them again.
Well, you hear it here, guys. If you like Chrono Trigger, hit her up because she'll do a great job with it, and they look beautiful. So, all right, moving through some of these. Looks like Sodomi is looking to buy something. I'm not sure exactly what he's looking for. Mr. Pure Instinct says, is there anything you want to create on stream that you haven't been able to try yet? That's a cool question.
Oh, wow.
Anything that you've thought of or...
No, really.
No? You just do it if you think about it?
like I just, pretty much it comes to me.
How about like
I'll make
anything that
it.
you've seen other people do that you want to try, or nothing?
Not really.
No?
It would be really cool to try to recreate like a masterpiece of art. Like try to recreate there. I've seen people do Starry Night versions.
Oh, that'd
I
be
would
cool.
love to try to do something Monet or something Seurat, because that was all pixelated anyhow.
Yeah,
To
that's
see if
true.
that would work.
That'd be cool.
It would be tough, but that would be fun.
Well, it's good that you don't like have anything that you haven't done yet, I guess, that you want to do. You just do what
I
you
have
wanna
drawers
do.
full of things that I've made that I'm
That's
like,
cool.
oh, that looks cool, I'll make it, and then just sits in a drawer.
Well, at least you made it, though. You don't
Yeah.
have to have that unresolved thing. Okay, I see a real question from Sodomi now. It says, do you feel okay doing commissions live while the client is watching? We kind of touched
I
on that,
prefer
too.
to do it that way.
Yeah.
I want that feedback. I want to know if you don't like something, because I've had an issue before where somebody said, yes, this is exactly what I want. And I showed them the colors that I was going to use. We put it together. I melted it. And then they were like, no, the colors are off. Okay, great. Luckily, it was a small piece.
Yeah.
And it was a friend, so it was a little easier to deal with than if
Right.
it had been a complete stranger. And I got a little less frustrated than I probably would have. But I was like, okay, next time,
Let me know.
tell me while you're watching,
Yeah.
because you were watching while I was putting these pieces down,
Oh,
and you
geez.
said it looked good.
Do you give the client like the option to have it on stream, like if they don't want
Yes.
to have it shown? Okay.
Yeah, like I'll ask them, is it okay if I
Yeah.
make this on stream? Would you prefer that I don't? And most people are like, nah, do it. This is what you do. Make it on
Yeah.
stream. Unless it's a surprise for somebody, then they obviously don't want me to make it on stream and
Right.
risk having them see it.
Yeah, I think it's important probably to ask people if they want to have it on there. I feel like there's probably some creative streamers who just like that's part of their policy. Like if you buy something from me, I have the right to stream it. But I think it's probably a better idea to ask permission.
Yeah.
You probably get more business that way. So that's good. Okay, Anatlas89 says, I want to try to do some 3D objects with perlers. Have you done that before?
I have. 3D is not easy, at least not for me, because the technique that I use fully melts the back of the perlers. Like if I'm sure you saw the back
Right.
of that one there,
Yep.
you really can't see any holes. You can't tell that it was a tube of plastic.
It's totally flat on the back. Just you can't feel anything back there. Whereas this side has all the actual rivets or holes. So
So for me, making a 3D object, it's not going to connect like, because it's got notches that it's supposed to fit into usually to make 3D, and it doesn't work that way. You have to melt it slightly on each side, and I have a hard time doing that because I'm so used to just fully melting.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, I've made my Minecraft skin. I made her 3D, and I made a Minecraft TNT block 3D, and they turned out okay. Not my best work. That's why they're mine, and I didn't try to sell them or give them away. But it can be done. Perler, their actual website, has techniques on how to do it. They give you tips on how to make 3D objects. It's just not something I'm good at yet.
Yeah, I didn't actually know you could make 3D objects out of Perlers.
It's kind of like puzzle pieces. You make the edges like jigsaws and pop them together.
Huh. Yeah, that's cool. I'll have to look into that. Okay, let's keep looking through here. I'm sure I missed some questions because there was a lot of chatting. Okay, I see one from GamerDadNC. He's also a local friend of ours. What unique style did you use for your creative streaming to make you stand out? He has like 3 questions, but that's his first one.
Honestly, for me, to be where I am now, it was right place, right time. It was one of those things where I met the right people, I networked with the right people, I made friends with the right people, and I was streaming when they were on and could host me or were willing to share. Like, it wasn't really...
Right.
I mean, I attribute most of what I've got to other people. I don't know, like, they got them in the door, but my personality and my art was able to keep them there. But I didn't do anything specific.
Okay. Like, are you talking about other creative streamers that kind of hosted you? Or
creative streamers, video game streamers, just other people in general. I
gotcha.
Just kind of...
So it's a lot of networking, though.
Yeah. For me, it's pretty much all been networking.
Right. So it's like the networking to get people to your stream, and then your art to keep them there. Okay. So there you go, guys. That's a general guide for that. What else have I missed here? Because there's a lot of questions. Rep and Knight says, "What is Perler art?" And you kind of already saw it, but
yeah, it's they're fusion beads. Perler is the brand. It's kind of like Band-Aid bandages. Band-Aid's the brand. The bandages are the thing. Perler makes fusion beads, and there's several other companies that do the same, but Perler is like the one that everybody around the world knows. And they're basically little teeny tiny plastic tubes that you can put into any pattern that you want, and you put them on a board so that the little tubes don't fall over, and then you iron them to fuse them, and
it all comes together like that.
You get some interesting art sometimes.
Yeah, it's really cool. Okay, I do see another one from Silent Ghost 73. How do you see we can get creative streamers to help regrow the creative section? Do you have any thoughts on that?
People need to go back to creative.
Instead of IRL.
Instead of IRL.
Yeah.
You're going to take a risk by losing the potential views, but you're going to get creative back to where it was, and people are going to know to look in creative. Just kind of like stand your ground. Be where you're supposed to be.
That's tough, though, because no one wants to take that initial hit, you know?
Yeah. It is a hit. It is a huge hit.
I can imagine.
I didn't have a computer for several weeks, and I came back, and creative was like dead in those 2 weeks. So I've taken a huge hit by staying in the creative directory, but at the same time, I find people that are coming into my stream that have Perler in their name somehow, or some sort of art in their name, that have followed me because they found me specifically for staying in creative.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm kind of curious about the future of IRL as a whole, because there's a lot of controversy with it now, with all cam girls and that kind of stuff.
There's a lot of gray area.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they kind of put rules on it and things like that.
They have a few,
yeah,
but the enforcement, there's just too much to enforce.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Weird. I think it's kind of experimental category anyway, so we'll see what happens. Okay, anything I'm missing here? I think I got most of everything. I have a personal question.
Okay.
How do you know Pims and Driz?
Okay.
What's your connection with them?
Driz and I met in a stream that we both used to frequent. He was one of the moderators in the chat, friend of the guy that we were watching.
Okay.
And I was there all the time. Like,
right.
Every time this guy went live, I was there watching, I was chatting.
Nice.
And he ended up giving me a code to play the game. Drizzy gave me a code to play the game, and I fangirled like crazy. So we ended up just talking to each other, and Drizzy was streaming Friday nights only at the time, and he was playing games with Pims on those Friday nights.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of got talking through Drizzy's chat, talking to Pims and Driz, and we all ended up being great friends.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
So I got to figure out how Pims and Drizzy met now. That's the other half of that.
I honestly don't know the answer to that. For me, it's just always been Driz and Pims.
Apparently, yeah, I got to figure that out. I'm curious. Okay. Anybody else have any questions, guys? Anything that I'm missing? Feel free to re-ask a question. If I missed it, I apologize. I think I got most of them. I think I had another question for you from my own. Do you have any plans for 2018 or the end of this year with your stream or anything that you're doing that's kind of, you mentioned Games Done Quick.
Yeah, in January I'm going to Awesome Games Done Quick in the DC area. That's honestly kind of how I got my start, like my big start with perlering.
Right. Okay.
They love the classic games and the 8-bit art and the pixelated stuff, so it kind of works really well with pixelated perlers.
Yeah.
So, but I have a lot of friends in the speedrunning community, so I'm gonna go hang out with them for a week and hopefully do a little more networking, hand out some perler pins that I'm making for them. And
do you do like do you kind of promote your own perler stuff while you're there, or
not?
No?
GDQ doesn't really want
like
promotion like that. Like I can I can hand out pins to people, but
Right.
I can't put my business card with it, which is fine. I understand that. I'm not. Yes, it helps my channel because people will be like, "Oh, I want to see what else you can do. I'm gonna come and watch you." But for me, it's more of a conversation starter because a lot of us are really awkward and socially not great. So if you go up to somebody and say, "Hey, you're missing a Poke Heart. Here, have one."
Those are really cool, by the way.
Thank you.
If you guys haven't seen, she made like tons and tons of
240.
Okay, that was a lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
240 of these little like perler hearts. That's like Pokeballs.
Yeah.
They're really cool.
Thank you. We made love discs. I made 80 love discs for SGDQ. And they were a great conversation starter. I met a lot of people that way. In fact, more people than that was my second GDQ event. And I met more people through that, just handing out these or then it was love discs.
Love discs.
And people were like, "Oh, you're the one who made those." Like even now it's
cool.
still, "Oh, I did meet you. I got one of those." You had to meet me to get one because people weren't just handing them out.
That I have noticed about creative streamers. Me and Doc met someone at TwitchCon, did the exact same thing. Is, you know, she's a creative streamer and she handed out like things that she made on stream while she was there. I think it's a really cool, like another way that if you're a creative streamer, you have something unique you can do that game streamers can't. So that's really cool. Okay. I feel like I see a lot of questions that aren't actually questions. Okay, Reppin' Knight, I think he asked one before. He says, "What are all the different creative streams you do? Just perler, or do you draw, craft other things as well?"
I craft other things. On my wall behind me, well, obviously not here, but in my office, I have photo collages and from my GDQ events that I've been to, and I made those on stream. We've painted a few things. I don't like do like good classical painting. I just like paint piggy banks, but we've painted on stream. I've crocheted on stream a few times. I pretty much craft everything. Like I made all of the stuff for our wedding. I didn't do that on stream because I didn't know streaming was a thing, but I probably would have if that was a thing. But like crafting is in my blood. I've tried to make cookies on stream before. I'm the world's worst cook. So it was more of, I'm putting this on stream so if my house catches on fire and I die, somebody will know where to go.
I think we had another cookie streamer, one of our other sponsored streamers did that recently. But I couldn't do that myself either.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was not an easy, like I have all the respect in the world for people that can set up their kitchen and capture all of that.
Yeah.
It was not easy.
I can imagine. Okay, so I do see one from D Money. Does that sound familiar?
I can tell this is a personal question.
Yeah. Oh, okay, nice. So he says, when you graduate college and have your fancy career, will you still do perlers occasionally or give it up forever?
No, my words.
Yep, same.
I'm having the word issue. This is a huge thing for me. My major is business management with a concentration in marketing. So mainly because I've been doing stuff like this for years, like running my own business. Twitch is your own business, essentially.
Absolutely.
So I will, as long as the commissions keep coming in, as long as people are still watching, this is what I'm going to do. This is my goal.
Awesome. So even if you have your fancy career,
My fancy career will hopefully be partnered on Twitch. So
that would be cool. That's marketing could definitely come in handy with that. So
Yep.
awesome. I need to check on the time because I don't want to keep you too long, but I do see another one from Rep a Night. He says, "How do you?" I think we kind of touched on this already, but how do you melt the perlers together? That looks like something fun / cheap / easy to do with my kids. I think,
it is primarily a kid's craft. That's the greatest part of this, is that we can turn a child's craft into something amazing. But it's so simple. You're going to want to iron it for them unless your kids are old enough to use an iron.
Right.
But it's really just the fusing is just heat. You don't want to put it in a toaster because then you're going to melt the whole thing. People have tried like t-shirt iron presses and it kind of gets weird because it melts both sides. You really just want to melt
The
one side to get it so that it's still, because you saw when you picked that up how flexible that was.
That's awesome.
It's not going to break. If it does, I'm going to have to rethink my technique, but I've never had one break.
We will come to you with a very angry letter. No, I definitely think it's a great idea to do with kids too. So
I mean, I was perlering when I was a kid. My mom bought my niece a bunch of stuff to start perlering so she could be cool like her aunts.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a kid's craft.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as you enjoy it, like clearly people still like it when they're not kids.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Awesome. I see one from True Ebag says, "Does Pure expect to make the travel towards TwitchCon for further networking opportunities next year?"
That's the goal, but my Twitch chat's going to have to pay for it.
Oh snap!
Because my Twitch chat is actually the Twitch affiliate program and the donations and the commissions. That's how I get to these conventions.
Right.
I wouldn't be going to AGDQ without it, and AGDQ is really close. I can drive there.
That's true.
I don't have to fly across country. I would love to get to TwitchCon, but Kaos herself can't afford that.
So Twitch chat, if you want to see her there, give her some money, buy some perlers, something like that. Cool. Green needs to work on reading skills. Thanks, dude.
Oh, I think he's doing fine.
All right, I think I got most of the questions here. If anyone else has one more, or anyone else has a question, let me know. I'm just gonna ask one more question on my own. What is your favorite stream memory? In all your time streaming, what's like the favorite thing you've done on your stream that you can think of?
Aside from making those chrono perlers that we were talking about earlier, the greatest thing that has ever happened on my stream was Caleb Hart raided my chat one night. Like he's got over 100,000 followers. He's actually I consider him a friend. I don't know if he considers me a friend, but I'm one of the mods in his chat. Like he's a great guy. Nice. And he raided my chat one night and it was the greatest thing in the world. Like that epic host. I'm telling you, it pays off just to wait.
Yep.
Wait, network, don't give up. You get that epic host eventually. And it just felt so good that he's got 1,012 people that he could have hosted.
Yep.
And he picked me that night. That was really cool.
How big was the host? You remember?
I was drunk. I don't remember exactly.
It's probably a great stream to come into then.
Well, that was part of the fun of it.
Yeah.
I had over 115 viewers from it. I think it was an 1,100 viewer host. Yeah, it was.
That's crazy.
It was insane.
Yeah, I definitely see why you remember that for sure.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Did you notice like that viewers would stick around after the host? Like
a lot of my regulars are from Caleb's channel. Just
nice.
Whether I've met them through his Discord or in his chat or whatever. And a lot of them came and stuck around. In fact, D-Money, who you read a question from, I met him through Caleb's chat too.
Nice.
He's a really good friend now.
Yeah, clearly if he's ordering stuff from you too. That's awesome. Shout out to D-Money. He'll actually get a shout out too because he asked a question. So, and a code. Cool. I will briefly just look over here to make sure I didn't miss any questions, but I'm pretty sure we got everyone's questions. Yep, I think that's it. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for us for today. It's been about an hour. I'd like to thank you for coming on the show,
Thank you for
Kaos.
having me.
It was really cool discussion.
This
really
is awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. We'll definitely, again, try and do this weekly, so I might have to have you back on for another discussion or maybe with someone else here too, if we can get people in the building or online or something. Is there, first of all, where can people find you?
Social media, all over it. Facebook is the only place I'm not.
Right.
I don't have a public Facebook page,
You're
but
not missing
everything,
much.
there's Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, obviously Twitch. It's all PureKaos26.
Nice. I think you're the first person we've had on who has all of that uniform.
It's just a
Yeah.
creature of habit. I've had the name for so long, I
Yeah.
may as well just move it all over to public.
That makes it so simple, though. Just
Yeah.
any platform, guys, /PureKaos26. I always thought your name was 27. I don't know why. But everything I typed up for the podcast, 27, I had to go back and change it.
Oh.
So, I don't know why. But anyway, guys, go check her out for sure. And I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be not actually coming back until 2018 because holidays are coming in and it's going to be crazy. But again, we're trying to get this out to be weekly. So definitely stay tuned for that. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Hope you enjoy the rest of your days. Go check out Kaos right after the show or sometime soon. Buy some perlers. They're really cool. And we'll see you guys later. Adios.
I'm gonna die.
No, you're not. Not while I'm driving sometimes.
Go down these houses. Those houses. Cut right, cut right, cut right, cut right. No, not through the tree. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god!
Pro strap.
Please, please clip.
No way they could have shot
Please
us
clip
while
that.
we were winning.
Please clip that.